Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to How to Access 3D Digital Standards. I'll be your host today. My name is Brian Zwick. I'm an account executive at Cardenas Part Solutions. And we've also got Tommy Holt, an application consultant on the line as well. He'll be doing a live presentation of what I'm going to talk about here in a minute. The process today is, and I'm going to walk through a few slides just to give you a pretty good indication of what the capability is. We're here to explain to you a little bit further and understand how it applies in the real world. And then I'm going to turn it over to Tommy to kind of give you a live demonstration, walk you through the product, how it works. And then I'm going to, at that point, jump back on and just do some wrap-up slides at the end. So it's about half an hour or so is what we're expecting today. So let's get into it. So why are we here today? Well, again, we're here to talk about digital standards and how they apply, what's available, the challenges that you need to address in the engineering community, how the standards can help that process be much easier than it is currently, and then we'll jump into how they work. So really, what are we talking about here? There's three standards that are pretty important in the industries. We see a lot of customers that we have currently that are accessing these. The first one is AIA-NAS, National Aerospace Standards. The second one is SAE, and the third one is the ASME B18.24. So really, what's the challenge? So industries such as aerospace and defense are really mandating the use of these standards within their product sets. So how do you make sure that you're using the correct standard, it's adhering to the standards that are in place and the regulatory requirements? Well, the problem really is that the consistency matters across. So how do you make sure you have those standards? How are you using those correctly in a time consuming activity? And how do you ensure that those parts get used consistently across the organization? So really, how are we doing it now? Well, if you look at how that's being handled currently, you're using legacy files that exist in the system now that you have, and you're going to find those, use those going forward, or in a lot of instances, you're taking a PDF standard sheet and you're modeling those standards from that sheet. And additionally, another way to do it is to use close enough models, finding a model internally that you have, and then adjusting your design to that particular model or vice versa. So really, what are the questions that are a challenge in the industry right now from an engineering standpoint? Do you have the right standard, right? And do we have the right variant and configuration for that standard? And how quickly can we see in a BOM what's being used from a standard standpoint? How do you avoid the teams using unofficial geometry? And then how do you support multiple CAD systems across the organization? So what we're here to talk about today is how do we do that? Well, using our 3D digital standards, there's no modeling time. The 3D models exist currently. They're compliant based on the requirements established by the organizations. They are multi-CAD compatible. Doesn't matter which CAD you have, you can download it in the CAD system of your choice. They are procurement ready because they adhere to the standards, and they're always up to date, being maintained. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Tommy, and Tommy's going to show you how this product works in real time, and then I'll jump back out and talk a little bit more about it at that point.
All right, thanks, Brian. Welcome, everybody. My name is Tommy Holt. I'm an application consultant here with Cardenas. I've been around engineering design, CAD applications, PLM, and SaaS software for over 30 years. And today we're going to talk about this aeronautical type of aerospace mechanical assembly. It's for educational purposes only, using Autodesk Inventor. And today's overall demo is that we're going to do a scenario where our design team is tasked with using only the certified 3 premium standards that Brian spoke of earlier, the AIA-NAS, the ASME, and SAE. And the live demo that I'm about to do will focus on 3 unique cases. We'll use the Cadence Enterprise 3Dfindit software that's been integrated here within Autodesk Inventor to efficiently search and integrate into this assembly standard fasteners using those 3 industry standard libraries. So here you can see the first use case, we're going to do insert some fasteners from the NAS library. You can see I have this assembly loaded in Inventor. We have the 3Dfindit integration already installed and configured. Here at the top, I've got the ribbons assemble, design, 3D model, and then on the far right, you can see the 3Dfindit ribbon. We're going to start our first use case by finding some bolts within the NAS standard, and we can do that on the right-hand side of this assembly. If I rotate this around, you can see these 4 red circles. I've kind of highlighted these in color just for convenience factor. I'm going to insert 4 NAS bolts or 1 bolt, 4 instances into these 4 red circular areas. And I can do that by starting this insert model button at the top in the 3Dfindit ribbon. And here that opens up a browser interface, 3Dfindit. I call it the 3Dfindit homepage. And we're going to go into the NAS catalog right here, and we're going to just open that. And the next thing we'll do is we'll add folder search. This allows our search to be exclusive within the NAS library, making our search much more efficient. And we're going to do a keyword search in this case for bolt. And I'm going to come back with 1,337 bolts. Obviously, we want to narrow that down. We could enter in, for example, also thread size. So in addition to the keyword, we can enter in some geometric criteria. Here I come back, I have bolts within NAS that have MJ5 as the thread size. And I could even take that one more and say, I also know that in the NAS catalog, that LG is the attribute for length, and I could say 20. So now I'm looking for bolt MJ5 thread specification size, and LG equals 20. And I've come back and now went from 1,337 bolts down to 1. I'm going to select this. That's going to open in 3D view. Here you can see the bolt. I'm going to select the export to CAD button. And that's going to bring Inventor back into focus. It's going to ask me, hey, how do you want to place this? We have some placement methods here. I'm going to select this circular edge placement mate on cylinder hole. And I'm going to go in and select these 4 circular edge instances like that. And I'm going to finalize this by selecting this green check mark. And there we have those 4 NAS bolts inserted into our assembly. So that's kind of the first demo that I do. The second use case that we'll do is, you can see, again, I've highlighted in red this bracket. And I'm going to just kind of rotate this assembly around so you can see the bolts a little bit better that are sticking out of here. And I realize this is a aerospace rocket type of design, but we're just doing this for demo purposes only. We're going to find ASME washer to locate on the top on these bolts here. And what we're going to do in this case is we're going to specify and configure a specific material properties for that fastener as well. And so we'll again start off on the 3Dfindit ribbon and select insert model here. And I'm going to go back to the home page of Enterprise 3Dfindit by selecting the Enterprise 3Dfindit button. I'm going to open the ASME library. And in this case, I'm going to just kind of navigate to my part that I want. I'm going to go into metric fasteners, and down at the bottom, I'm going to go to washers metric series, and I'm going to choose on the right here, plain washers metric series. And then this one, AEW23. We have the ability to look in vertical mode. Table on the left is in vertical. or we can look at this table in horizontal. And in this case, I'm going to look at it in horizontal just to show you how many variations of this washer exist. So we can kind of drill down the washer. In this case, I know I want the nominal size to be 5. So I can see at the top of the screen here along these table columns, we have pencils. You can edit and enter criteria. Now I've narrowed my washer selection down to 3 unique washers that are 5 millimeter. And here on the right-hand side, you can see the washer series. We have a narrow, a regular, and a wide. I'm going to collapse this table so you can see the fastener in 3D. And I know that I want a narrow washer. Here I could just show you real quickly. There's a regular washer and then a 3D view, and there's a wide washer in 3D view. So I'm going to go back to the narrow washer. And in this case, I also want to specify and configure the material type, and I can do that right here in the table by selecting the material type attribute for the narrow washer and select ASTM material specifications. And then we're going to do, for example, a finish specification and pick that. I'm just going to choose ASTM A153 zinc coating. Now we have a material configuration. I'm going to export this washer. It's again going to bring Inventor into focus. I'm going to use that same circular edge placement. And this time I'm going to choose the circular edge on the face of this red colored bracket. And we're going to finalize that by selecting the green check mark. And there are 2 ASME material configured fasteners. So that's kind of the end of the second use case. And we have one more where I'm going to use the SAE standard library and insert a nut on top of these 2 bolts. And what we're going to do this time is our ERP sourcing operations team has given us a specific part number within SAE. They know exactly which bolt or nut, excuse me, to insert. So I'm going to grab in my copy and paste here. I have a part number. I'm just going to copy that real quick. And then again, I'm going to go back and say insert model from the Enterprise 3Dfindit ribbon. I'm going to go back to the home page. I could go down here and select the SAE International Library, but I'm just going to type in this part number. And that quickly, I've searched all of my catalogs and found this specific nut by part number that our ERP sourcing operations team provided. I'm going to pick that nut. It's going to open it and preview in 3D again. Here you can see that nut. I'm going to export to CAD. So we've found a fastener by part number. And again, we're going to use the circular edge, but this time we're going to go and choose the top of these 2 washers here and then place 2 instances of this SAE certified component. And there we have it. So that's kind of the live demo portion of today. 3 different fasteners using 3 different search methods within Enterprise 3Dfindit by Cadence. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Tommy, great job for what you're doing. It was pretty exciting to see. And I think that if you just kind of look at what he did, Tommy was able to quickly, through CAD, go out and find parts to use in his design, bring those into CAD, use those as part of the assembly, save those off the PLM for reuse in the future. Very quick. And again, it doesn't matter which CAD system you have. We have plugins for every CAD system that you can imagine. And then we have the integration to PLM and ERP from there as well. Part of what he showed today was the industry standard, which is NAS, SAE, and ASME. We do also have the ability to go out to your existing internal parts and search there in your existing databases. Also, we have the ability to go out to commercial supplier parts catalogs. We have about 1,100 or so of those that are available for you to access as well. What he also touched on a little bit today was the search suite. So He did a number of different searches to find the parts that are available, but you'll see that there's a number of different ways we could search, whether that's a text search, a similarity search, sketch searches, attributes, which I think you use pretty heavily there as well. But we have all kinds of different search capabilities that allow you to easily find the parts that you want to use. And again, that can be internally in your existing database. It can be the 1,100 plus certified supplier catalogs that we have currently available when you have our enterprise solution, or it's searching the industry standard catalogs, NAS, SAE, and ASME. So again, just to reiterate what Tommy showed today was the ability to work with the 3D standards that are available as part of our suite. We have other capabilities that are there as well, and we definitely would enjoy a discussion internally with you about those. I'll follow up with everybody who's attended the this webinar today. But if you want more contact or more info prior to that, feel free to contact us direct prior as well.
Hey, Brian, we've got a few questions from the audience.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah. So the first one I think is probably for Tommy. I think they just want to see the standard, the AIA standard library a little bit more from the top level. Let me put that back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
They just want to see the categories that are in that NAS in a little bit more detail.
You able to see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so here I am again in the Enterprise 3Dfindit homepage. Here's that NAS library. We did a bolt search, but I could go in here and kind of show some of the high-level categories that exist. Just kind of scroll down through so you can see here.
Yeah. Excellent. I think that probably shows what they're looking for. Another question that might be relevant here where you're in the general area that you're at, are there other standards available in Enterprise 3Dfindit?
Uh-oh.
Did you freeze up?
Looks like you might have froze up.
Do you want to field that one, Brian?
Sure. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Yeah, there are other standards. We have DIN and other very similar type of standards that are available as part of the solution as well.
All right, he's back.
There they are right there. ANSI, DIN. I think I saw them.
Yeah, sorry about that. You guys, audio
Good.
audio dropped
Yep.
on my side.
Another question. Do they have to license
Sorry.
all three
The audio
standards
dropped out.
together, or can they license those individually?
Yeah, so all of the catalogs are are separate. So if you have our Enterprise 3Dfindit product, you can buy one or all three of those, depending on your usage.
Perfect. How about this one? Seems like a little bit of a specialized one, Tommy. Can you find a part with an ASME B18 code?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the case of, are you seeing my screen here again?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so when we place those washers in, they come in with this unique, then in turn use that 18-digit pin code on bill of materials, and it's also searchable. I have an example I can show you. Let me get that pin code number that we had the washer. The washer has that unique 18-digit pin code, so I could go back into 3Dfindit, and if I open NAS, for example, you could see here there's kind of a type code, this type code search. You could paste that unique 18-digit pin code here and do a search on that. So, oop, that didn't work.
It would actually be ASME.
Yeah, it's the ASME one.
Oh, thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
All good.
All right, let's add this back. So yeah, if you paste in that unique 18-digit pin code, there's that washer. So
if they're just given that code, they can look it up they can reverse look it up and
Right,
find
correct.
Exactly.
And also,
Yep.
it goes the other way as well. So if you have a model and you're going to use that in your assembly, you can identify what the ASME code is for that as well, right there.
Awesome. The last one I've got is, do users get commands to help search the catalog quickly? They saw that you used that LG equals 20. How did you know to search LG equals 20 there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if I open up the NAS catalog, which we were doing when we did the bolt search. So if I go back and add NAS and I say bolt, and then we went in as Adam saying LG20. How did we know to do LG20? Well, each catalog's different in terms of what attributes are searchable. But in short, you can see the attributes here at the top. HT is heat treatment, fin is finish. And if I go over to the right, oh, here it is right here, LG. LG is for length. That's how I determined that LG was a criteria that I could use. So I could have easily said diameter. I could see that over to the right is B, and I could have said, all right, diameter equals 7.4, and there's the result there. So it's unique by catalog, but in short, I was able to just kind of identify the names of the attributes here in the table.
Cool. And that is it for all the questions.
Okay. Well, everybody, really appreciate you you joining us today. As I said, we will follow up with everybody. If there's something that you want to talk about prior to a follow-up, feel free to send a note on, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.